The forthcoming rematch between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol has garnered widespread interest in the boxing community. Fans and commentators alike are excited for what may be one of the most anticipated battles in recent memory. The first meeting between these two best light heavyweights left an indelible mark, with disputes still ragging about who truly deserved the win. While some believe Beterbiev was the true winner, others believe Bivol accomplished enough to earn the championship and is now aiming to avenge the decision. With the rematch set for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, excitement is high as both combatants prepare for their confrontation. The first battle between Bivol and Beterbiev had two extremely different approaches. Bivol, noted for his better footwork, speed, and distance control, dominated the fight's early rounds. He was able to move in and out of range, landing fast combinations and avoiding Beterbiev's bigger strokes. However, as the bout progressed, Beterbiev's constant pressure began to veer on Bivol. Bivol struggled to escape the Russian fighter's strong punches as he continued to approach. Beterbiev's aggressive style has been a defining feature throughout his career, and it is one of the reasons he is so dangerous. During the first fight, however, Bivol demonstrated his boxing IQ and technical ability. He was quite successful with his jab, controlling the tempo with his superior footwork, and employing angles to avoid being caught in exchanges with Beterbiev. Many felt Bivol was the cleaner and more precise puncher in the early rounds, but Beterbiev's strength and aggression began to wear down as the battle waned. Although it appeared that Bivol had won more rounds, the judges were impressed by Beterbiev's overall strategy, power, and willingness to drive the action. As both boxers prepare for the rematch, there is much speculation regarding whether Bivol will be able to make the required modifications to avoid repeating his mistakes from the first fight. The most popular notion is that Bivol will need to find a way to withstand Beterbiev's pressure, while still boxing at his own speed, without being forced into the exchanges that allowed Beterbiev to land those devastating shots. Some pundits believe Bivol's speed and boxing IQ will allow him to outperform Beterbiev over the course of 12 rounds, especially if he can keep up the pace and avoid allowing Beterbiev's power to drive the fight. On the opposite side of the equation, Beterbiev is still as hazardous as ever. With an all-knockout record, Beterbiev has repeatedly demonstrated his ability to defeat any opponent. His ability to impose his will on his opponents, combined with his exceptional conditioning, make him a tough opponent. The issue remains whether he can maintain his aggressive style for the entire 12 rounds, or if Bivol's superior footwork and technical prowess will be enough to keep him at bay. The stakes in this rematch are quite high. Not only is the title of undisputed light heavyweight champion on the line, but both men want to cement their reputation as the best light heavyweight of their generation. A victory for Bivol would allow him to make the required modifications and rewrite the story from the first bout, whereas a win for Beterbiev would demonstrate that his might and pressure were too much for Bivol to bear. While both combatants have a lot of respect for each other, their different techniques and personalities contribute to the suspense surrounding the battle. Beterbiev's unrelenting, almost robotic attitude contrasts starkly with Bivol's more deliberate and precise manner. Some commentators believe Bivol will have a mental advantage in the rematch since he understands exactly what went wrong the first time around and has had time to reflect on his blunders. It is thought that Bivol will have modified his strategy to reduce Beterbiev's chances of landing the knockout strike. The fight is expected to be a hard-fought one, with both competitors having their moments of success. Many experts believe Bivol has the stronger skill set, but Beterbiev's power and aggressive personality may be the determining factor. The question is whether Bivol can keep Beterbiev at bay for the entire 12 rounds, or if Beterbiev will wear him down throughout the fight. Some have argued that if the fight goes the distance, Bivol could win on points, but only if he avoids Beterbiev's big blows in the later rounds. Several important boxing figures have expressed their predictions for the rematch, with various perspectives on who will win. Promoter Frank Warren, who has previously worked with Beterbiev, indicated that he is agnostic on the outcome, despite his support for his fighter. Warren praised the abilities of both Beterbiev and Bivol, and his main wish is that the best guy wins the night. Former world champion Carla Froch also favored Beterbiev, noting his strength and superb finishing skills as important elements in his victory. Froch admitted that Beterbiev's ability to finish strong could give him an advantage in a close fight, but he also recognized Bivol's technical ability and quickness as a dangerous opponent. Meanwhile, Tony Bellew, a former cruiserweight champion, feels Bivol can develop and win. Bellew speculated that Beterbiev's age and the wear and tear of their first battle may make it more difficult for him to maintain his aggressive style. He believes that Bivol, as the younger fighter, will be able to control the tempo and prevent the harm dealt by Beterbiev in the last rounds of their first battle. Some observers say that Bivol's biggest error in the first fight was his failure to finish strong. Shakur Stevenson, a rising boxing star, stated that Bivol's performance was great throughout the fight, but he appeared to take off the gas in the latter rounds. Stevenson believes that if Bivol can stay focused and finish strong, he will be in a better position to win the rematch. The story surrounding the fight has provoked heated disagreement among fans and experts. On one side, there are many who believe Beterbiev's power will eventually win out, with his ability to hit hard punches likely being the deciding factor. On the other hand, some believe that Bivol's technical superiority and speed will be enough to defeat Beterbiev over the course of 12 rounds. In terms of preparation, both combatants have demonstrated that they are taking the rematch quite seriously. Beterbiev, despite being in his 40s, continues to compete at an exceptional level, indicating that age has not slowed him. He remains one of the world's most dangerous fighters, known for finishing fights in catastrophic fashion. Meanwhile, Bivol is driven by a desire to correct his mistakes from the previous bout and demonstrate that he is the greatest in the division. With his focus and dedication, Bivol is guaranteed to deliver his best performance ever in the ring. One of the most intriguing features of the rematch is the prospect of a trilogy featuring the two fighters. While others argue that the victor of the rematch should move on to new challenges, there is growing speculation that a trilogy is in the works. A third battle between Beterbiev and Bivol would be an appropriate end to what has already been an exciting rivalry. Fans are excited to see the outcome of the rematch and what happens next in the careers of these two outstanding boxers. Overall, this rematch is shaping up to be one of the most fascinating and closely contested fights in recent boxing history. Both fighters bring a unique set of skills to the table, making it tough to predict who will win. Will Bivol's technical expertise and speed be enough to outperform Beterbiev? Will Beterbiev's persistent pressure and power be too much for Bivol to handle? The answers will be revealed in the ring, and boxing fans all over the world are eagerly anticipating the next installment in this epic drama.